Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Whatever the I Want podcast, where I, your host, Gabby, gets to talk about whatever the I want. And today's episode is about me falling off of my routine. So, this is my first time filming out and about. I was supposed to be outside. It is super rainy, and so we are just filming in the car, We're just getting comfortable, allowing us to be seen in the real world. And I fell off my routine, y'all. I was traveling. Let me tell y'all this road trip. I was helping my friend Andrew move to New York City. We drove, don't ask all these questions. We drove from Chicago to Florida, packed up his things, then drove from Florida to New York. Helped him unload his things. Then drove from New York to Chicago, and then he flew back to New York. Insane in the membrane, crazy, crazy, crazy road trip. Thank God everything was fine. Thank God everything was okay. I packed my journal. I packed my book, y'all. I had packed everything. And I had every intention of keeping my routine. And it didn't happen. And so I think total travel time, it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks. With everything, we had to extend our stay in New York because we were just so exhausted from all the traveling. But nevertheless, I'm still catching up on my readings for Simple Abundance. I've been posting my creates page whenever I can, and I've been journaling whenever I have the energy to. But truthfully, the past few days, I have really tried honing back into my routine. Like, I've been going to the gym. I think I took Saturday and Sunday off. I went to see Gabriel Iglesias, and then another day, I don't remember why I took off, but I took off. Regardless, that doesn't mean that I can't get back onto my routine. So I'm still catching up on my readings because, like I said, this book, Simple Abundance, has a reading for every single day, and I missed 2 weeks. So that's a lot of reading I got to catch up on. And I've also started reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and so that takes up a lot of my time when I'm at the gym. Plus, I'm not going to carry this big ass book to the gym for me to read. So I've been spending my mornings lighting some Palo Santo, which has been so nice, and I just cleanse the room, and I will do tarot readings for myself, and I'll journal, and basically I've been starting to have slow mornings again, and it just feels so good. As much as I loved and appreciated my time exploring and traveling, we even stopped in DC briefly because Sada had never visited DC, and so it was a great time. I had a wonderful time. I got to see some of my family. I was only home for, I believe it was 2-3 days. I got to see my nephews play at their baseball games. I got to see my nieces. I got to spend time with my family, see my grandparents. So that was really important to me. And I think overall it was a great trip. I'm so happy that everything went well, and I'm happy to be back. So this is a journal entry from today, Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, 9:20 a.m. While I am finally back on somewhat of a routine, it feels good to be prioritizing myself and my personal growth again. I feel great knowing that I am my number one priority. I feel great knowing that I love myself and that I take good care of myself. My mornings have been slow and peaceful, and I've loved it. You're on the right path, Gabby. Keep going. So, on top of falling off of my routine, yeah, I feel like every episode is basically a yap session because I'd be bouncing off the walls everywhere. Seeing Gabriel Iglesias, excuse me, seeing Gabriel Iglesias really allowed for me to understand that the stage that he's on now is not the stage that he started on. He actually said one of his first, I believe it was the first comedy show he'd ever done was here in Illinois. It was in Joliet, I believe. And seeing him now at United Center, he sold out the show. They had to push back his stage so that they could get more tickets out to the audience, and they still sold that out. So I'm going to read you a journal entry as well from after seeing Gabriel Iglesias. Monday, March 17th, 2025, 9:24 a.m. This past weekend, I saw Gabriel Iglesias for the second time. It reminded me that he started on smaller stages and is still growing today. I was afraid of my own potential, so I would limit myself, but now I know that anything is possible, and that I want to make people laugh, I want to inspire, I want to entertain, I want to do anything and everything I can, and I will. And it just goes to show that people see your success as overnight. Like Doechii was not an overnight success. Any celebrity, anybody that you can really think of has not been an overnight success. They've had multiple albums released prior to, their hit single. Like I remember Olivia Rodrigo selling out stages after like Driver's License was released. And is the album called Sour? I'm blanking out. I don't think it's called Sour. What is Olivia Rodrigo's first album? After Olivia Rodrigo released Sour, she basically was able to sell out plenty of arenas, but she decided not to perform at arenas because she wanted to make her way up to, I guess, like earning her space in those places. And I feel like that's such a humble way of going about it because there are steps to doing things. And sometimes, I'll get in my head like, well, why am I not there yet? Why am I not there yet? And it's like, well, you're not there yet because you're not supposed to be there yet. Like, be patient, understand that things are going to work out even better than you could ever imagine. It just takes patience and dedication. And I feel like it was just very reassuring seeing Gabriel Iglesias. He shared multiple stories about his family, about different shows that he's done, even when it came to like fundraisers that he did. And, at the start of his career, and he reached a point where he basically hadn't performed in, I believe it was 10 years, all because of like one event that went wrong. And it's like not every event that you do in your life, not every performance that you give, not every lecture that you give, if you are a teacher, is going to be like, oh, wow, this is amazing. All they do is put out gold. And it's like, that's not realistic for anybody. And it's not realistic for me to always be at 100%. And so I'm just being completely real with y'all. Like the past couple weeks, I was kind of like, just living. I just wasn't really prioritizing my mental or physical health. I mean, I was still, exploring New York and spending time with family. And I think that there's a season for everything. So, on top of things being seasons, I was reminded that, winter wasn't going to last forever. And now we're basically in spring. It's been raining a lot. And I remember growing up hearing April showers bring May flowers. And I didn't necessarily understand what it had meant because I grew up in Florida and I just saw vegetation all around me all the time. So I didn't, I guess, like understand what it felt like to not have. And now growing up and like moving out into, the Midwest, I see seasons. I see the leaves fall whenever autumn hits. I see, the snow cover up the roads in the winter, and I see it all melt and, rain start to come in the spring, and then I see flowers, and then I see lots of sunshine. And it's just so crazy to think that nature is an imitation of like life. Like, not every season in your life is going to last forever, whether it be good or whether it be bad. And it's, I have so much hope now. Like, seasonal depression is so real. And thankfully, like, I was working out and doing things to like keep me busy. And, like I released this podcast and stuff, but like, damn, if I hadn't done that, y'all, I don't know if I would have lasted up here much longer. Like, I think it's been really easy for me during the winter time to like get depressed and just like get into my little shell. One winter I gained a lot of weight because I, was in a relationship and we just like, we're just staying inside and watching movies and cuddling, which is great, but it's like, what about your goals? What about what you have planned for after winter? You just get so caught up in like, this is how I feel right now and this is what, you blame it on the weather. This is what, and sometimes it's valid because, when there's a lack of sunlight, you do have a lack of motivation, but you don't have to allow for those things to take over you. Like, if you want to stay in and cuddle, that's fine, but you can't do that every day of your life. There has to be some type of balance. And I think basically what I'm trying to get at is that, yeah, I've fallen off my routine, and so what? Like, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I do not regret spending time with my family. I do not regret the road trip. I do not regret exploring New York and staying there longer than anticipated. I don't regret any of it. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, it's all my fault," or like kick myself. Like, I had a great time. I fully enjoyed myself, and I didn't like stress about, "Oh, Gabby, you didn't close your rings today. Oh, Gabby, you didn't do this." It's like, so what? That it wasn't the time for that. That was a time for me to like fully enjoy myself. It's what I would call like somewhat of a vacation. And as of right now, like, it's time to hop back onto our routine. And I think that there's a season for everything. And that was a brief moment of my life that was meant for me to relax and to recoup. And now it's back to jump on the grind. We back on the grind, y'all. Been going to the gym. I'm going to be doing my first cut. I don't really know how to do any of this because I haven't like been tracking my foods, but I am planning to just be more intentional of like doing more cardio and, just watching what I'm eating, that kind of stuff. Just trying to like lean out for summer. And I don't know, what if I like the way I look? What if I don't like the way I look? I think what's most important is like I love going to the gym. Dude, today at the gym, okay, so a guy, I noticed him from like my peripheral because I was like doing goblet squats. And then I guess his jacket was near me, and so I put up a weight, and he was like, "Oh, like, sorry, I just wanted to get my jacket. I didn't want to like interrupt your set." And then he like gave me a high five. And I was like, "Okay, cool, high five." And then he pat me on the head. I was like, "Okay." Like, I didn't know what to do. I was just like, and then I just like grabbed my stuff and went to another machine. It was just so crazy. I was like, did this man just pat me on the head? Like, for those who know Twitch, like when they like pet, like the pet emotes, like that's what it reminded me of, like a pet, like a petting emote. um yeah, so I guess that's basically it for today's episode. It's been a little bit all over the place, but ultimately I think what I'm getting at is that it's okay to fall off your routine. It's about getting back on it and about understanding that it's these small steps that you take every day that are going to make the biggest impact. Me going to the gym and lifting weights once a week is not what's going to be what leads to bigger results. What's going to lead to bigger results is showing up more often, whether I'm giving it and let me also preface this. Giving your 100% every day is all that you can ever do, but your 100% every day might look entirely different. If today all you have is 80% and you gave your full 80, then that's all that matters. So even today, like, I'm getting my period, I can feel myself being more fatigued, but it's like, hey, I still showed up. Like, sure, I didn't push myself super heavy, and I didn't like, I wasn't lifting as much as I normally do, but that doesn't take away from the ultimate progress that I will be seeing. It's just about building these habits and jumping back on this routine that is going to lead to these results that I want to see. So it's like the same thing for showing up for the podcast. I know I've said this before, but it's like I show up because I need to. And it's not, maybe this episode that's going to be like the one that completely skyrockets my career, but it is about, it's like what people say, like, you just got to like rinse and repeat. I just got to keep showing up, keep trying, keep doing what I got to do. And, the moment will happen for me in its right timing. Same thing with Gabriel Iglesias, same thing with all these artists and celebrities that we see. Though they had their moments, and it was when they least expected it. Just show up for yourself. And if you have fallen off your routine or any like rhythm that you have, get back on it. Because I forgot how much I miss slow mornings, especially while I was traveling. I, would grab my phone whenever I woke up, and then I'd start scrolling, and then by the time I know it, it's like, oh, there goes the day. It just passed by. And so I feel like I get so much more out of my day when I'm not on social media because I'm truly, truly focusing in on what I need to do. Like today, I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to go home. I'm excited to clean the house, to be honest. The house needs a cleaning, and I love that. And maybe I'll take me a little edible while I clean the house, and just like set my intentions and clean the space and then edit this episode and like just romanticize your life. Romanticize it. Record yourself in the gym. Like, record yourself doing pickup at school with your kids, singing in the car. Like, make life fun. It doesn't have to be boring. And like, your routines don't have to be boring. My routines are not boring. I actually enjoy journaling. I fully enjoy reading whenever I first wake up in the morning and, like telling myself that I'm beautiful in the mirror. Like, I really do enjoy that. So I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea, but you got to find what it is that ignites your soul and really like fills in your cup. And these are things that fill my cup. And so I really hope that you spend the time figuring out what does fill your cup. And the only way to do that is just to try things. You got to be trying, like, okay, I'm going to try out this flavor of tea in the morning. And then maybe you try 3 different teas and you're like, I just don't like tea. That's fine. Nobody is forcing you to like tea. You don't have to be a Pilates girl if you don't like Pilates. You don't have to be doing yoga if you don't like yoga. If you like kickboxing, go do kickboxing. It's like, I think sometimes we try to mold ourselves into what we see other people enjoying or them doing because we're like, oh, it's so aesthetic. Oh, it's so cute, whatever. And it's like, if you have an entirely different personality, that is okay. Nobody is upset at you or gonna like castigarte like if you are different. You know what I mean? I think now more than ever we need to celebrate our differences and like ultimately that's what makes us unique and that's what people enjoy. People don't want to see this whole copy paste thing anymore. And actually somebody predicted that on social media. They're like, what is a trend that you plan to see for the next couple years? And they said authenticity. And I feel like that is something that takes people so much further in life when you can feel people being authentically themselves. And that's a big part of this podcast is like for me to look back and be like, whoa, that's what Gabby was like at 27. Like, oh my gosh, she's so different than who I am now. Or like, wow, I've enjoyed this for so long. Like, how cool is that to look back and to see my growth and my progress? And ultimately, that's what this podcast is. It's for me. It's for me to look back on, or for my future grandkids to be like, look at what grandma was doing. Grandma was starting and bopping on Hinge. Like, she was, don't hate the player, hate the game. I don't know. But I hope you all have a beautiful day. Go ahead and like this podcast and share it with your loved ones. And I'll catch you in the next one.